Major funding for Theater Corner is provided by UC San Diego. And by the Westgate Hotel, La Jolla Alcohol Research Incorporated, Signet Theater, and viewers like you. Thank you. Hi, welcome to Theater Corner. I'm your host, Michael Taylor. As a lifelong theater enthusiast and a board member for one of the top theaters in the country, I've seen firsthand the positive effects that diversity and inclusion can have on the stage and the theater seats. This interview series was created as a way to share my passion for theater and promote diverse voices throughout the national theater scene. We sit down with some of the top professionals in the entertainment industry to discuss training, careers, advice for young actors, and how to make theater matter to more people. Today I got to sit down with two incredible actors, Wendy Raquel Robinson and Ro Boddie. Miss Robinson is known for her roles in The Steve Harvey Show, Grand Hotel, and The Game. We sat down at the Westgate Hotel to discuss her career, her conservatory, and the difference between performing for a live audience or a camera. So, silence your cell phones, folks. You're entering Theater Corner.
Well, it's good to be here.
It's so wonderful to have you here. You're amazing. We're talking about over 30 plus years of television, film, and theater. Mm-hmm. It's incredible. So what do you recognize that the Theater Foundation specifically has done for you? Perhaps, I don't know, in preparing you for television and film, or what difference do you see that you have theater as a background?
For me, it's allowed me to go with the ebb and the flow, and to make adjustments on demand, right on the spot, improvisation, doing sketch comedy, things that come very easily to me. I have to attribute it to my background in theater. It's the overall foundation. You got to go for it. It's live. You can't do another take. Right. So you have to trust your instincts. You have to trust that first choice that you make to do anything with. And I think that's kind of catapulted me in almost every role that I've gone for.
So many of our viewers would recognize you from the early years of the Steve Harvey Show.
God, the early years, thanks. Yeah. No, I appreciate it.
What was that experience like?
It was a magical time. It really was. It was back in 1996. And the thing that's so bizarre about that, they had shot the pilot for the Steve Harvey Show. Mm-hmm. I didn't do the pilot. The role of the principal, it was an old white Jewish guy who played the principal of the high school. So after they bought the pilot, they picked up the show, and they were like, something's missing. We want to give him a nemesis, a female, So they created this whole backstory, and I had to go in, jump through several hoops. But I had done another pilot with Steve years ago. It was called Me and the Boys, and it was on ABC, and Steve remembered me from that. So when it came down to even auditioning for it, I'm not gonna say I had a shoe in, but I had a toe in. Because at least we had history, But it was a magical time because they were at the height of their career as the kings of comedy, he and Cedric.
That's right.
So, it was fascinating. That's when we used to do shows in front of a live audience. So you talk about theater. Television, especially for camera, the traditional way it's a lot like theater. You're doing it live. There's the audience, even though you have to do it a couple of times, but it's as live as going to be. And when you're working with comics, you don't know what they're going to say, how they're going to go, and you just roll with it. So I think I've learned how to be the straight man as well as the funny man and the woman in between.
And so what I'm hearing also is there's that collaborative element that you have in theater as well. You're giving something to an audience, and you're getting something back.
Yeah, and it's not even just the collaborative with the actor in the audience, it's also the writers. So the writers are there, and it's like, oh, that joke didn't work. In between each take, they give you a new line. So it's not only being quick on your feet, but it's quick in the delivery, the memorization, regurgitating the information, and hoping that you'll get the laugh. So it's a constant being on your toes, being present, and just making it happen. But there are not that many shows that are done live anymore.
Right.
Everything is kind of transitioned to single camera, which I miss that audience, because immediately you would get you get that energy, you'd get the, I don't want to say validation, but in a way that's what it is.
And then let's fast forward a bit, and you had quite a long run on a show called The Game. where you played Tasha Mack.
Yes.
There's got to be some great memories, but that's a different game altogether, so to speak, than Steve Harvey Show.
Absolutely. It ran 10 seasons, but over a span of almost 15 years. So we started on the CW as a half hour, live audience, total different format, and then the CW transitioned, no audience, and okay, let's get a little bit more, let's call it a dramedy, so to speak. Then after 3 seasons, I believe, we were canceled by CW. And at the time, BET was interested in doing original programming, but it was so far-fetched. It was like, it's not gonna happen. So we were canceled by CW, but then the talks were still going on, and cut to maybe about 4 years later, BET said they were ready, and we were resurrected and brought to BET as a single camera show. It was a difficult transition in the sense of all of the characters stayed the same, the actors were the same, but we had to move the show to Atlanta. It was a new network, so there was no money. So, we were working out of a warehouse that wasn't even configured to a sound stage. So it's like, okay, where are we? It's freezing, but it's like, take the coat off and it's 105 degrees in your mind. You know what I mean? Because the show was based in San Diego.
Right.
It was an interesting transition that kind of developed and migrated into something that's so precious and so magical, that I can barely describe it, They're still looking to do reunions about the show. And then we just got picked up from Netflix, for Netflix.
Now that's
so it's
exciting.
Like the gift that just keeps on giving.
Right.
And Mara Brockett-Keel, who created the show, she's huge theater buff, but she always called us a little engine that could.
And then you went on to the magical OWN TV with Ava DuVernay, Cherish the Day.
Another magical experience for several reasons. Cherish the Day is a new show that is on OWN, created by Ava DuVernay, starring one of my theater babies from Amazing Grace Conservatory, Zosha Rockamore, and she's the lead actress in that. And I got the call the day before, and it's like, can you come in and do this part? And I was like, sure, okay, you get an offer to do it. Had not seen the scenes, had not seen the dialogue, had not seen anything. I just knew I'd be playing a psychologist. So here's where theater comes in. It's like, pages and pages of dialogue. And I'm like, oh my God, I had to shoot the next day. So thank God the cast was all from theater. So we sat around and we ran the lines because it was just as new to them as it was to me. And we really created something that was memorable. I played a psychologist and I was counseling the young couple as they were going through their marital problems. But it was a lot because it's that vernacular of, being the doctor, but then also being, I was a different kind. I was like a neo-soul kind of doctor, and it's like, come on, feel yourselves. So I'm trying to find this character, but it's still pages of dialogue. So it goes back to taking those risks and following your instincts that theater definitely embeds in you.
Let's talk about the conservatory that you co-founded in Los Angeles, California. What exactly happens there?
Wow. So 23 years ago, my best friend and I, Tracy Coley, two struggling artists, pretty much, we put our heads and hearts together and created a curriculum and found a wonderful place to rent. And we started teaching young people the arts, acting, voice, dance, yoga, creative writing, spoken word. But beyond that, we gave them a platform to simply be themselves in a non-judgmental environment. And especially today, you know, and even then, you know, there are just so many things that we tell our young people to just say no to this and just say no to that, but we gave them a platform to say yes, unashamedly. And I really pride myself and I think more than just creating artists, we create incredible human beings that have a platform, that know who they are and what they want to do and are unashamedly proud of it.
And you've birthed some significant stars. Would you name a couple of the alumni that are significant names now and doing their thing in film?
I'm so proud of Ashton Sanders. He was in Moonlight, won the Oscar. He's done Equalizer 2. He's in the Wu-Tang Clan series and has several movies on Netflix right now. But more than anything that he's done in the industry, he's created the Ashton Sanders Scholarship that goes to an African-American male, very specific. He funds it, and that's going on to higher learning in the arts, a 4-year accredited university. He's a graduate of DePaul. So he wanted somebody that's going on in that trajectory. So that's pretty huge to see a young man that's accomplished but still has the wherewithal to give back. And I think that's one of the things I'm most proud of. It's like, you can go on and get all of the accolades, but then what? What are you really doing? So Issa Rae, of course, you know, Emmys and all of that, and incredible work. Elle Varner, she's a Grammy-nominated artist. Singer, recording. Brian Nicole Brown, she just completed Empire. She was a series regular on that, doing some incredible stuff. Christopher Babers, he's the head of Awesomeness TV. Thomas Hobson, Ovation Award winner. He's still making a living as a theater actor, you know, in Los Angeles, which is not an easy feat to do.
No kidding.
He's very talented, Yale graduate. So there's so many. I know they're going to kill me. It's like, Miss Wendy, you didn't say who's who. But I just want to say, overall, I'm so proud of each and every one of them. And I do feel like the proud mom. I really am.
No, I mean, it seems like, I mean, you planted seeds and there's the fertilizer, but there's also the love that you provided those former students to help them develop into what they are today. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
You know?
And it's not easy running a nonprofit.
Right.
There's no profit in the nonprofit. But it's the passion and definitely the purpose, and to see them transition from day one, being in class and being cloistered and here, and just to see what the arts does and what theater does is transformative work. And to see them take their bows at the end of that production, and to know that there's that sense of accomplishment, that sense of purpose, that sense of pride. It's inexplainable.
Next, we're at the Signet Theater in Old Town to meet up with actor Ro Boddie to talk about his performance in the one-man show, Every Brilliant Thing. We had a great discussion about his role, training, and having illegal fun. Welcome to Theater Corner, brother.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
All right. You're in San Diego, back at the Signet.
Yeah.
You've been here before.
Yeah. Done 3 plays here now. Stupid, Effing Bird, you know, to say that word, 7 Guitars, and King Haile II.
The play you're performing in this time is Every Brilliant Thing, directed by Rob Lutfi. This is a one-person show.
Yes, sort of. And so there's a lot of audience participation. The play centers around a list that I write when I'm a 7-year-old boy, because that was around the time that my mom first attempted suicide. On the way to the hospital, my dad says that she can't see anything worth living for. And so I started a list of every brilliant thing in the world that's worth living for. And so what's immersive about this play is that at the beginning, there's no blackout, No curtain will rise. I will be outside in the lobby. I will be talking, mingling to people, and giving them slips of paper with a number on it. And whenever I call out that number throughout the show, they have to yell out with their biggest voice whatever that item is on the list. And so throughout the play, I mean, I go all the way up to 1 million. But I'm also telling the story of from age 7 to her last attempt, and taking you guys on that journey with me. And certain audience members will be playing certain characters in my life too. It's not a lot of lines or anything. They're basically just there to help me tell the story. And so it's a one-man show, but it can't just be me. And so it's almost an everybody show.
Right.
You know.
So a one-man show. I mean, this is no small beans. This is not the simple thing either.
No.
I mean, so how have you been preparing for this?
It's about 52 pages of lines. And so I came to the first day of rehearsal off book, and we started rehearsal a week ago. And so we had a week of rehearsal, we have a week of tech, and then we opened the show. And so this is a quicker process than normally. Normally you get 3 weeks of rehearsal.
Right.
You go into tech, and then you open the show. And so I've had to speed it up a lot. And that's taught me a lot about losing an expectation of a result, you know, being easy on yourself as far as embracing a role like this that really talks about really heavy issues. And I mean, a lot of people who have dealt with, you know, things like mental illness or been affected by it, because we've all in some way or another been affected by someone who has suffered from that, they will have a different experience, I feel like. And my goal with this performance is to get a dialogue going about it, because I feel like a lot of people don't talk about it. There's a stigma about it.
Right.
And so once that dialogue starts to happen, I feel like the healing process will begin for a lot of people. And so
You say that you showed up off book, and I say, of course you did, because you're that kind of actor.
yeah, you gotta go hard or go home, man.
Right. This is quite challenging. I mean, for you as the actor. I mean, on stage, and it's only you for the most part.
Yeah.
For almost 90 minutes.
Yeah.
What are you expecting that to be? I mean,
You know, it's
I know you're up for the challenge.
yeah, but you know, you always want those roles that's gonna give you little butterflies in your stomach. You know, you want those roles that's gonna, you know, scare you a little bit, because if you're doing it and you're that isn't there, it's like, why are you doing that role? Why are you portraying it? What are you learning from it if you're not risking something?
Right.
And so every night I'll be risking something, because I want people to think when they come to see this show, while they're mingling with me outside, once I start talking here, that they're talking to Ro and forgetting that they came to see a play. And if I do my job right, it'll be effortless. And people will come up to me afterwards and, you know, ask me, did this really happen to you? You know, and yeah.
You got a BFA, North Carolina
School of the Arts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you've just been going nonstop since then. What it looks like.
I've been blessed. I've been blessed, yes.
You've been doing theater, and you've been doing film and television.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that theater foundation.
Well, North Carolina School of the Arts, you know, we got a little bit of Meisner training, but it was really heavy on Stanislavski training. And so given circumstances, what, why, when, how, you know, those terms, as ifs, like, so for instance, I'm putting myself in the shoes of another character. This character, for instance, this one, my mom actually has never suffered from mental illness or attempted to take her own life. But if she had, you know, so, you know, we got training in that, and also Lecoq, mask work. It's been nice utilizing all of those skills, but it was Michelle Shea, who was a Wilsonian, who directed me in Jim of the Ocean, that gave me another tool. She started doing this thing with us who were in Jim of the Ocean, the cast members, called healing sessions. And I didn't know what it was, but she would do these healing sessions on us before, you know, we would do shows. And I just remember me being so open, And it was easy for me to access different things. And I was like, what is this? And what she taught me is that sometimes the body actually gives you more information and knowledge than the mind does. And so what is your body telling you in this moment? And she taught me how to work with energy, which was another tool. So for instance, in life and also on stage, people are doing either four things. They're pushing someone away, they're pulling someone in, they're stopping someone, or they're allowing. And what that does is all of a sudden I get out of like, what am I doing? What am I action in this scene, blah, blah, blah. And I just, like right now, I'm trying to pull you into me to get you to understand what I'm saying. And it's
Right.
subtle,
Yeah.
but on film, it works wonders because the camera is right there on you. And so if I can like stop someone with my energy without having to, really muscle it, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch. It's beautiful to, practice those tools. And so she directed me in Floyd, as Floyd, in 7 Guitars. And she directed me in Jim of the Ocean. And I learned so much from her about the rhythm of the text and just that energy work for sure.
You've done a great deal of August Wilson.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I saw you perform the 7 Guitars here as Floyd, which you've done more than once.
Yeah.
You mentioned this rhythm, that goes with this August Wilson piece, because you've done Shakespeare as well, and then there's this thing of if you can do Shakespeare, you can do anything because this is that. But I would argue it's the same thing with August Wilson pieces because there is that rhythm that you find in Shakespearean pieces as well.
There's a musicality for me in every play that I read. And once I find the rhythm, it's effortless. I start to be drawn into the character. The character brings me closer to them, and I'm not trying to bring the character closer to me. And some way, somehow, we start to merge. The deadly part of when you go to see Shakespeare or August Wilson is when people are acting between lines or when they're breaking it up and they don't realize that the work that they're doing in between those lines will easily come out if they just keep saying the lines, hitting the important words, elongating vowels and finding the staccato with the punctuations. And once you find all of those things, it's so juicy, man. It's just so much fun to just get up there and all of a sudden, 2 hours have gone by and you're like, what just happened? And you've changed some lives or yours have been changed,
As the actor in television or in theater, what's your approach to getting out of the way? Even as an actor, getting the actor out of the way of the character so the character can be.
Not being so result-oriented, that's what really happens. When I know that I've done all the work that I can do, and I just hit the stage and I just let it all work on me, instead of trying to do more work, that really helps me. And it helps me to release. Michelle Shea calls having a legal fun. It feels so good that it has to be illegal. And all of a sudden you let go, you release, and, it's hard to not take it home with you. When I first started, I was such a obsessive artist. I would, and you should be to a certain extent, but you also have to practice self-care, like a role like this, the places I have to go to, imagining that my mom succeeded one day with taking her own life, all of these things. When I hit that door, I have to leave it here because if I take it home with me and I dwell on it, yes, you may think you're doing great art when you return to the theater, but you're not really taking care of you, and your instrument.
One thing I really admire about you as an actor is you really take ownership, so to speak, of your career. I mean, you really take this serious.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about having creating relationships with your casting directors and such.
Yeah.
What got you to that point? Was there a lesson learned, or you just kind of figured it out on your own, or?
I'm just madly in love with it. That's all. Like I'm not gonna. It's like being in love with a partner. I have a certain responsibility. to keep the love going, to keep the marriage going, to make it flourish. And so that's the same with my passion. I'm lucky enough to have found one. Some people go their whole lives and they just work and they work and they work. And I was lucky at the age of 17 when I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with my life, and my guidance counselor filled out my electives, put me in a drama class, didn't know what that was, and I did my first monologue, and people's faces, I was like, finally, I know what I'm good at, and and it just happens to be what I love. People are saying I'm really good at it for the first time. I'm good at something for the first time in my life, up to that point. And I love it. And so, it was game on since then. So yeah, there's a responsibility when I walk through these doors and I have to deliver a performance. If I'm coming in and people have paid $60 for a ticket or more, and I'm giving $20 worth of a performance, it just can't fly. And so maybe I take it too seriously. But I feel like you have to. I feel like you have to.
It always amazes me the insight these incredible performers are able to give. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Michael Taylor, and we'll see you on the next episode of Theater Corner.
Support for this program comes from the KPBS Explore Local Content Fund, supporting new ideas and programs for San Diego.
Watch the full interviews and more at www.theatercorner.org.